This is my autobiography that I made on Prezi, and the first page just has all of the headings, and the first heading is I am a writer who likes. So I am a writer who likes to reflect on her day in my journal. For example, when I was student teaching, I kept a journal just in a regular notebook where I wrote what I was doing that day, whether I was teaching and what I was teaching, and then I also wrote about things that I think I did well and what I should still improve on. And this helped me, especially when I was looking back at my student teaching experience, to see how far I came from when I first began student teaching to when I ended. And it was really nice to just look at it and see my progress, especially when I was doing this assignment and completing it. Next, as a student, my writing was very personal. So these are just 4 poems that I wrote when I was in the 1st and 2nd grade. And as you can see, they were about my dog, my new school, my dad, and my rabbits. And those are all things that were personal to me because I talked about school. I was in school every single day. And then also my dad, obviously I was with him all the time because we lived in the same house. And also about my rabbits. I was obsessed with rabbits when I was younger, and so this was also something very personal, and I just loved writing about stuff that I was surrounded by because it's just something that I enjoyed being around. So it also brought me joy, but as I continued through school and went to middle school and high school, my papers about myself were becoming a little more difficult because I had to express myself in concrete ways. Instead of just talking about my rabbits, I had to kind of explain how I felt about them and stuff like that, and that was just getting more and more difficult. Personally, I am a writer who doesn't like to write about literature. This especially became difficult in high school when I would read more difficult texts like the Iliad and the Odyssey, because it was just really hard for me to understand and to relate to because it was written in a language that I was not used to. Also, in order to work through my struggles, because I couldn't just not write the papers, my teachers helped me, and they were able to help me organize my ideas before I wrote them in graphic organizers and before I wrote my rough and final drafts, which helped me to, instead of just immediately start writing my papers, I would first think about what I want to write and then write it in my graphic organizer and then start writing my paper. Personally, my writing has changed since I first learned how to write. It's changed through the format, topics that I'm writing, and then the strategies I use to write. So for the format, obviously my writing has gotten better in the sense that I use upper and lowercase letters correctly, and I use paragraphs appropriately, starting with a topic sentence, information, and then ending in a concluding sentence. And also I use a lot of transition words and phrases, which help my writing flow better. And the topics that I'm writing about have also changed because, again, they started off very personal, and I then started shifting to writing more academically, so writing papers for school and anything related to that. And then the strategies that I'm using in order to write have also changed because I remember when I was in 3rd grade, I would start my essays or my writing pieces with, "Hi, my name is Joanna, and today I will be writing about," and then continue writing like that. So my strategies have changed in that because I don't start my essays that way. And as a result, as a writing teacher, I want to make sure to model all my writing strategies for my students before giving my students the materials and opportunities to use these strategies. So instead of just telling them what they have to do, I'm going to tell them what they're going to do, model it for them, do it with them, and then have them independently do it, because this shows not only that I'm also a writer, but it also shows my students how to do it, and it's a way for me to help them in their writing. As a writer, I'd like to know more about writing in the content areas aside from just literacy. So obviously, we as students and as teachers can write in all the content areas. And I want to learn more about that because I attended a professional development while I was student teaching, and its focus was writing in the math content area. And although I learned a lot about that, I switched placements in the middle of this professional development, so I didn't get the whole experience, and I want to learn more about it because it was very interesting when I was a part of it. And as a writer, I hope someday that I can write a children's book. Taking my reading and literacy classes in undergrad and now being in the reading and literacy program at Sonia Nyanta for my master's degree has really exposed me to a lot of children's book and how inspiring they can be for students on a huge variety of topics. And I want to be a part of that community, just presenting information to students through books. And I think it would be really interesting to have my ideas put into a children's book that hopefully children would enjoy reading. So yeah, and that is my autobiography. I hope you guys enjoyed,